Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are. Welcome to our program, Consciousness in Evolution. My name is Ana Yogan. I am here representing Reaprendência International, a conscience-centric institution dedicated to re-education and formation of teachers. You can find our page, Reaprendência International, at YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Today, we are going to explore the systemic interdependence between consciousness and planetary health. Salutoconscientiology is an innovative response to the challenges of the Anthropocene, which is the current geological age, a period during which human activity has been the dominant influence on climate and the environment. Emerging frontiers of relative health, from well-being to the evolutionary well-flow. So please welcome our guest, Roberto de Almeida. He's a physician. He's a university professor. He is an entrepreneur and a volunteer in conscientiology since 1994. Since 2001, he has coordinated the Invisible Colleges of Conscientiology, fostering research across multiple conscientiological specialties. He is also the director of the Instituto Idéia Ambiental, which is dedicated to advancing planetary health. And in addition, Roberto conducts research with the Invisible Colleges of Evolutiology and Neuroconscienciology. So, Roberto, the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to start by expressing my gratitude for this invitation to be here. It's a real honor to talk about these reflections about health and consciousness, our planet, evolution, in a more broader and deeper perspective. My name is Roberto Almeida, as mentioned. I'm a physician, and I have been working for more than 30 years, especially in intensive care units, where I deliver a kind of care that is related with very sick people. And also I am a volunteer and researcher of conscientiology for more than 40 years now. And over these years, I have been thinking about the health and health systems, how we approach the situation of health in this planet and with the human beings. And I notice that we have a very focus, I can say narrow focus on disease and how to treat the body of the people. But there is a less concern about the health or the sickness of the consciousness itself. So in this presentation, I will go a little bit deeper in this approach of consciousness, consciential paradigm and consciousness. First, I have to mention that we need a new paradigm. We are facing what is called a polycrisis. That means that we have a physical, mental, social, environmental, and even spiritual or consciential crisis that need a new approach that integrate all these problems. And we usually say that the consciential approach or the conscientiology promotes a bloodless consciential revolution. That means that we are creating a transformation in our planet, and because we are promoting the transformation of consciousness. So we need to understand that we need to transform all the systems of human systems. I have more contact with the biomedical health system model, and I think that this presentation, the idea is to start think about a conscientiological health system model that encompass all these questions that we are facing now. And then, because of this, Salutoconscientiology is a new conscientiological specialty dedicated to study and promoting the health of the whole consciousness within the context of multidimensional evolution. So, and what is health? I will present here some basic foundations to understand the health. And of course, I will be open to the questions if you have, and I will give the answers according to the questions presented. First, I have to say that the World Health Organization defines health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, not merely the absence of disease. This creates an idea or a concept that we call negative health, or that means that we are considering health the absence of disease. But with this definition, we can start thinking about the positive health. That is the achievement of a high level of bio, psycho, social, eco, and spiritual well-being. And this approach of that we are bringing here, the Salutoconscientiology, is more related with this second one. And of course, but the majority of people think about health in terms of this negative approach to health. They only consider they are healthy because they are not sick, they are not with disease. And we need to start thinking better about this. The next thing is that the etymology of the health concept comes from the Greek holos, that means whole or in totality, is related with the concept of Latin salus, that means even health or whole or intact. And this concept of salus in Latin give rise to the concept of salvus, that means that we are saved or unharmed, overcoming threats or to physical integrity. And in the English language, the word health comes from the Old English health, from the Proto-Germanic hal, that means also whole and undamaged. Then the general idea is that we have this idea that we have the individual has different aspects of the health, and there is some kind of protections against something that came from the environment that can harm. This kind of concept, this integrity, is very important to understand. And in conscientiology, we bring the concept of health to a multidimensional and holosomatic approach, because we talk about the soma, our physical body, the energetic soma or energosoma, the psychosoma, our emotional body, and mental soma, our mental body. All this create a different approach that means that we have health when the integration or harmony between or among these bodies is created. This is a new challenge, a new perspective. And of course, this holosomatic well-being needs an internal coherence that allows the consciousness to manifest lucidly across all dimensions. So we start talking about being health not only with the physical body, but with other bodies, other vehicles of manifestation of consciousness in other dimensions. This expands much more the concept, but when we include this harmony, including other people, society, and the planet, we are talking about what we call evolutionary health, or a kind of integrative consciential health. This will be very important to keep in mind, because this perspective, this systemic perspective, will be important to understand the proposition of Salutoconscientiology. I will start talking about another concept that is salutology. There is a researcher called Charlton, and his article, he talks about the evolutionary perspective of health. And he says that in the conventional medicine, we have studied the diseases or pathogenesis as the generation of disease. But few of us ask what is the causes of health. And health is what needs scientific explanation according to him. Health is not the natural state of matter. Entropy, disorder is the rule. There are far more ways to be sick and dead than to be alive and well. Life and health represent a continuous victory of entropy. And here I present a diagram, image that helps us to understand what is the meaning of this evolutionary approach. The idea is that life is a balance between the entropy or environmental threats that create death, sickness, and promote what we call death, premature death, or disabled longevity. And also the other side is negentropy. And there is something else that is related with this approach to health. And this something is related with the concept of salutogenesis, where life is a balance between pathogenesis and salutogenesis, where there is in one side entropy and natural selections, environmental harm, creating disease, disorganization, and in the other side there is negentropy, a negative approach to the disorganization, where appears the importance of consciential evolution, because our consciousness create or organize the universe. The consciousness create organization, and this is very important to understand this balance. I would like to say in this moment, if it's necessary, some other explanation, if there is some questions.
Yes, I'd like you please to explain better what would negentropy mean, because what we know from chemistry is that entropy is the chaos. It's when all the atoms, molecules, they are like going all over the place and they are disorganized. And enthalpy would be the other side of the coin, let's put it this way. So how do you explain this negative entropy a little better?
Yeah,
Please?
This concept is discussed in terms of physics, chemistry, and biology. Negentropy is almost the same enthalpy. The entropy is the disorganization. We usually have the example when we have a small piece of ice, and the tendency of the energy is to unfreeze the cube of ice, because the energy goes to one state of organization to a low state of organization. This is entropy. In order to keep, we have to put energy and organization in order to keep the negentropy or enthalpy. This
So
is
it
some
would
concept.
include an effort, some kind
Yes.
of strength to organize the environment.
Exactly. Yes.
Oh, okay.
For example, our life, our body, when we create life, the life is created in the process. There is a phenomenon that is, we are organizing the cells. We are creating more organization in our body, in our organs, our systems. And this is something that there is not clear answer until now, how this self-organization is created. We in conscientiology, we understand that the reason is the consciousness with the other bodies that create this kind of organization in living beings. So that is, the negentropy is an effort to how to can I say to the opposite effort to deal with entropy with this organization is the organization. Yes.
Perfect. Mhm.
So life
Thank
and
you.
health is related with this. Okay. So the idea now is to present the idea that the concept of salutogenesis was presented by Aaron Antonovsky in his book Health, Stress, and Coping, 1979. And the term is saluto, that means salus, and health, well-being, integrity, combined with the genesis, that means origin, creation, generation. And the history behind this concept and this research was the idea that he was researching healthy women who went through the Holocaust, a traumatic experience, and he would like to understand why these women are keeping health. What is the source of their health, even facing this traumatic experience? And he had a lot of concepts. One of them is very core to the salutogenesis, is the sense of coherence, where we have the experience of life, culture, personality, creates a worldview, and this worldview promotes a capacity to view, to see, to understand life as comprehensible, manageable, and meaningful. And this concept of sense of coherence is very important to this concept of salutogenesis. And I can say now that conscientiology explain that experiences came from multiple lives. We have evolutionary intelligence, paragenetic, macrosoma that create this capacity to make or create sense of coherency. That is very interesting, this possibility. And the concept of salutogenesis is a kind of integration of several theories in a big umbrella. There is a lot of studies presented here that creates assets for health and well-being. We have capacity. If we cultivate, if we develop, if we understand these different capacities, we create more conditions to generate health. And there is a very interesting analogy in this draw, that there is the river of life where we have a person swimming, and when we have ability, we know how to swim and where we go, we have the quality of our life and well-being. And if we don't know this, we can have problems and even fall in this problem here, in this fall of waters here.
So Roberto, we still have some questions about the neg entropy. Eliane is asking, where does this word come from? Is it a neologism? Was it created by you?
No. This word negentropy was promoted by physicists. They are studying the phenomena of entropy, and here they are thinking about this other phenomenon that is creating life with self-organizations, and there is the proposition of negentropy as a term in physics. It's not a neologism from conscientiology, and then I'm just using to show this balance between entropy and negentropy. And what I'm saying is that the consciential evolution, or the evolutionary intelligence, is what is helping this negentropy and creating this salutogenesis with health organization to balance and create life with health, and this concept of health as evolutionary approach, with evolutionary approach.
So it would be like a principle that organizes life, like
yes.
model to organize the biology of the body.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
So now I will talk about another concept from medicine. I have been studying the lifestyle medicine since 2014. When I started teaching at the university, I was looking for more concepts to teach the medical students, and I found this lifestyle medicine as a new concept in medicine. And what they are teaching that our style, our human style, our behavior can have impact in our health. And in this diagram, in this figure, I can present a network physiology and network medicine is contributing to this emerging field of salutogenesis that help identify new ways to support healthy lifestyle. What this means, there is in this image a macro environment that involves conflicts. Nowadays we have wars in some parts of the world, climate change, pandemics like COVID-19. This kind of influence create influence in the other level, that is our social determinants of health and cultural factors. And then our lifestyle will suffer consequences of this macro environment, and our behavior, our lifestyle influence our immune, autonomic, and neuroendocrine systems that influence our microenvironment, interstitial cells, and even our intercellular processes like epigenetic, metabolomics, and other intercellular processes. So the lifestyle is something that is in the middle, but according to the multidimensional network or our holotocene, lifestyle encompass all this, and we need to understand this approach because when we will start talking about Salutoconscientiology, we have influence. We are creating according to our behavior, thoughts, sentiments, and energy. Thank you for the help. The holotocene is the amount of toxins that we generate, and is related with our lifestyle, our style of toxin, I can say. So lifestyle medicine is related with a healthy behavior. And the way we present this concept is related with these pillars of habits or behaviors. For example, we have a pillar of health eating, a pillar of physical activity, a pillar of restorative sleep, stress management, health social connections, avoidance of risk substances. These 6 are the main pillars that are presented as lifestyle medicine. I usually add 2 more pillars, that is connection with nature and planet, and habits based on positive psychology. With these pillars and the behavior that we cultivate with these pillars, we have the health as an emerging property of lifestyle. This synergy between our behavior, taking care of our health, of health eatings, physical activities, we create synergy, and health is an emergence property of this. So with this, we can talk about personal code of integrative health, how we create a personal code of cosmoethic related with the health and our habits. And other things that we can start thinking, if we have choices, or we are free to choose this behavior, or we have influence from the environment. And in order to reinforce this idea of we have some kind of freedom and responsibility, I use the concept of competencies to be and stay healthy that is in line with the Amartya Sen capability approach. This man, Amartya Sen, is a Nobelist. He studied, I think, is in economics. And this approach of capability approach is very interesting because we have the right to have the capability to be well, to live well. And I think it's very interesting because this approach of Salutoconscientiology have this idea that as we evolve, we have more competencies, we have more strong traits, we have more conscientiometric abilities to be healthy. And one aspect important is that this macro environment, the health determinants, influence our lifestyle, influence our consciousness that is in this meso environment, this intermediary environment. And we, with our lifestyle, influence the micro environment, the cellular and the body and these basic aspects of our human health and body health. And another aspect in terms of lifestyle medicine is the relationship between our sustainable human habits or lifestyle with the concept of planetary health that I will present now. The planetary health is our human health, is the acknowledgement that our human health depends on the natural environment. And the planetary health brings us a vision of human health integrated with the health of ecosystems that sustain life on Earth. Then when we have this approach, this systemic approach of planetary health, we understand that protecting nature is the same of protect ourselves. But we are far from understanding this concept because now we are living in a time where have some question?
Yes, we do have a question. Leona is asking, how far does lifestyle play a role in restoring balance despite genetic factors of diseases?
Yes, this is a very good question in terms of, I'll come back here, because we have nowadays studies showing that a person with a genetic predisposition, if the person have the genetic predisposition, this is not a sentence of disease or death. It's a predisposition that can encounter a lifestyle, a healthy lifestyle that protects the person. And because this kind of influence that we create with our lifestyle and the influence that we create over our behavior, and this behavior translates in better influence, better microenvironment. There is a lot of studies in terms of what these behaviors, this lifestyle, healthy lifestyle, create in our microenvironment. And this good influence protect us even from problems of genetic predispositions and diseases. And I
believe it has to do with the concept of epigenetics, right?
Epigenetics, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly the concept of epigenetics. A good epigenetics.
Nice. So I see that you are going from the traditional medicine and kind of touching bases with Oriental medicine as well, because they had this concept where health is not only treating the physical body, it also has to treat the energetic body, the spiritual body, and so on. So I believe here in the US, they were kind of responsible for changing the medicine model from just using herbs and using other possibilities of the complementary medicine, and just turning into You just take a pill and everything is going to be solved. And it's not this way.
Yeah.
It's a lot more complicated, and that it has a lot of other things in place, right?
Right, it's correct. This approach is more systemic, is more integrative, is more, it's different from the concept of our traditional and conventional medicine, focus on disease and the medical and the pharmacological treatment of disease or surgical treatment. It's very different. Yeah, we have to.
It has a lot of the preventive side to the question, right?
Yeah.
We have another question here from Monica, and she asks, how can science, spirituality, and ecology work together to promote both planetary well-being and the evolution of the consciousness? I believe you are going to answer this in the next slides, correct?
Yes, I was just beginning to answer this question. With the next slide, I will present this idea. So perfect. What I'm building with you, understanding the whole picture that we create now in this moment in the planet. And one idea that is necessary to understand is the concept of Anthropocene, the geological age that characterized by negative impacts of humanity on the planet biosphere. And in this graph, we see the growth of human population in the 18th century. We have 1 billion of human beings. And now in 2023, we have 8 billion of human beings. And there is a very important growth of populations. This is called a human overpopulation. And with this population, we have a lot of technology, and we create a lifestyle of consumption. And this is called the Anthropocene effect that impacts the health of our planet, the limits I will explain later. And this alteration is impacting in human health, even physical and emotional and mental health is a kind of process that is related with this age of Anthropocene. And what is happening in terms a little bit more of technical approach of this problem is the understanding of the boundaries of planet. These ecosystems, they create a kind of boundaries to protect the life in this planet. When we are growing in number of human beings with our technology, we are crossing the planetary boundaries. And this I have a suggestion to you. This documentary in Netflix, Breaking Boundaries, the Science of Our Planet, is the scientists that are studying these planetary boundaries. They present a kind of overview of this problem. And the studies of these boundaries since 2009 until now, we have almost 9 boundaries assessed, and we have crossed 7 of them. And the reflection that I'm bringing, according to our consciential paradigm, is that our human civilization create human systems that promote what is called business as usual. And in terms of conscientiology, there is a concept that is existential robotization. People are behaving without too much consciousness in this system that we create, and we are creating impacts in our society with inequalities and in our environment with these planetary boundaries problems that I'm presenting here. And our human lifestyle, our human systems, they were created to protect us, but some unintended consequences, is that we are encapsulated in these anthropogenic or anthropocentric systems. Here I have a list of all human systems that we create, and this is something that is related with this existential robotization and business as usual. Because when we start talk about this, people don't care. They are not interested. They are just trying to keep their lives as the same, and we call this business as usual. The government, the enterprise, they are always behaving in the same way, and we are not changing. But this is creating problems for us and for the future generations and for the environment and all life in the planet. Another question?
Yes, please, Roberto. Kim Macau from Australia, he's asking if it's possible to, if you could give examples about the boundary crossing, because it's difficult to read the graphic.
Okay, here in this is better to see. We have a safe operating space that is related with these boundaries. Climate change is one boundary. Biosphere integrity is another boundary. And land system change, freshwater change, biogeochemical flows, nitrogen and phosphorus, ocean acidification, atmospheric aerosol loading, stratospheric ozone depletion, and other entities. All these are boundaries that have been studied, and there is measurements of this, and we are crossing these boundaries. If we live inside of this green area, we are operating in a safe space. When we cross, we are creating problems in systems that one problem will lead to others. For example, the climate change with the CO2 concentration in the atmosphere creates this global warming, and this CO2 creates acidification of the oceans and other problems. The life in the reefs, coral reefs, is losing quality in life, and all these problems are systemic change. I think this can give you an example. And of course, I will send you slides and you can see later. And here we see the progression of the measurements and our behavior of human beings. We are crossing this. And the idea is that what is creating this problem is our behavior as humanity as a whole. All human beings with their lifestyle, with these human systems, and we create what we call the Anthropocene is an ecosystem consciousness that is related with this existential robotization. This creates a malign Anthropocene that is characterized by our lifestyle as a poison to this environment. And this creates Anthropocene. What is the characteristic of this malign Anthropocene? Is the human exceptionalism. The human beings think they are exceptional living beings, better than others. This creates a disconnected life, the disconnection between the person, the consciousness with the best version of her, and disconnection from the other. And technology is creating a lot of problem in terms of human connections, and disconnection from human beings in nature, because we are living inside of human systems. And denial of interdependency is another problem. Nature exploitation, unsustainable lifestyle, example, consumerism, disrespect for the planetary boundaries, as we has mentioned, and business as usual. And I have to say that we have a lack of awareness. The quality of our consciousness or conscientiality is low. And this impact our planet. And now we are in the moment to talk about the benign Anthropocene. We need to create an ecosystem consciousness that is related with more polycharmality. We need to say that we are creating a planetary consciousness, a planetary health, a planetary urbanization, reurbanization, a planetary ethics that is related with cosmoethics, planetary citizenship, planetary governance. We are in this way, but we are promoting with conscientiology, we are helping this happen. Yes, that is the I think is related with the existential program of all intermissivists is related with this process. Well, I have to, in order to explain a little bit the moment that we are living and the transition that we are doing, one idea is integrativeness in nature. I will tell a history about the integration in our planet. And this first image shows the Earth, and in some billions of years ago, the life, this arrow, this green arrow represents the life, the first life, the unicellular life. And with billions of years, the next image represents several arrows, and this is the differentiation of life. We call this biodiversity. And this biodiversity is create another interrelationship or interdependence between different species. And this connection create harmony and health of this planet. And now we are living in a moment that we call this the growth of human beings. We are creating impact in this planet and these ecosystems, and we are in a moment that we have doubts about the future. If we will continue this process of degradation of environment and the life in this planet, or we have a possibility to return and re-equilibrate, rebalance this planet. And this green arrow, this big arrow here, I took from the theory U that talk about the idea of human civilization renewal and planetary healing. That is related to what we talk in conscientiology with the rescene, resex, and reurbanization, a planetary reurbanization. Rescene is interconsciential recycle, and resex is extraconsciential recycle. It's a process of transformation of consciousness that we are promoting with the conscientiology. And this leads to the transformation and reurbanization of this planet. So now we are starting to think that the transformation that we are developing in here in conscientiology, the education of consciousness is related with this transformation of the planet and the life in this planet. I will present. Okay, new questions?
Yes, Monica from Florida, she's asking what might a road with evolved consciousnesses, one that honor both human and planetary health, truly would look like?
Well, this is the future that we are building with this. We in conscientiology, and I think there is another movement in this planet. I mentioned theory U. There is a lot of movements that are creating a perspective of transformation of this moment. We are living in a chaotic tendency, this business as usual, the unsustainable way. We are degrading, we are crossing the planetary boundaries, and we need to transform all this tendency. And I think with this process of education and transformation in all human systems, we will create a different paradigm, a different approach to life with other values, other systems, And that is the challenge of this century and this moment of our evolution, because we here understand that this number of intraphysical human beings, that is the cause, one of the cause of the Anthropocene, is related with the reurbanizations. The consciousness, astrophysical consciousness, are being reurbanized. They are living, they are being born in human bodies. That explain how we have 8 billion of consciousness, intraphysical consciousness living now, more than this. And this consciousness have a not very evolved lifestyle, not very evolved code of ethics, evolutionary intelligence, and then they are putting more gasoline in this fire. We are in this moment, and we need to balance. And then we are here, and the discussion is how conscientiological approach to the health will help this solution of this problem. I think I will talk a little bit more about how would be this world with evolved consciousness. I think is the final perspective is related with these questions. Okay. And I will present here the dynamic interaction of health determinants. I think it's important to understand that our human health suffer or have influence some from genetics, as mentioned before, access to healthcare, lifestyle, social cultural environment, human systems, and natural environment, how we treat the environment. In these 5 factors have impact. I will mention here a percentage that is related to the impact of genetic in our health, the impact of have access to healthcare, the impact of lifestyle, our choices in terms of food, exercise, sleep, and other behaviors, and the impact of our social environment and natural environment, 50%. And this create a very strange analysis that we expend more than 95% of our money is dedicated to provide access to healthcare. Even in the United States, in Brazil, and I think in all countries, the investment in terms of money is to provide access. We are doing not so much to provide development in these other aspects that represent 80% of the impact. And this also influences the planetary health. So this perspective is important because with this next image, I would like to present you a model of interaction of these health determinants here. These green arrows here represent factors in terms of good behaviors, lifestyle, environment, and systems that create health assets that push, that create a direction of the movement of the health, in direction of creating health, or in direction of pathogenesis and creating disease and premature death and planetary illnesses. Então, then I have to present you this as a dynamic interaction that occurs in our lives, in our family, in our society, in our community, and everywhere. And these are creating a dynamic interaction between these factors. And we need to educate people about this. We need to treat this, create this approach of lifestyle medicine, and we need to educate consciousness education for integration, to understand this approach. And this is a perspective that I have presented here in a chapter of this book. If you have interest, I wrote a chapter of this book called Health People Living on Health Planet, the role of education of consciousness for integration as an instrument of health promotion. And the idea is that our human lifestyle is related with our human consciousness. And this creates human health determinants and planetary health determinants. And this is a new integrative health approach. And what we are saying here is that we need to transform the perspective of health that is only concerning of my body to this new approach that integrates the health of our society, the health of our systems, the health of our planet. And this new approach is necessary because we are facing this planetary reurbanization. What explains this number of human beings is this theory of reurbanization that we are studying in conscientiology, and the health of human civilization. This is the reason that we need this conscientiological approach to Salutoconscientiology. Salutoconscientiology, as I mentioned before, is this combination of recin and resex, and this creates consciousness health with the reurbex, a planetary reurbanization, the transformation of all these human systems. And here I present the concept is a very, how can I say, is long definition of Salutoconscientiology. And I break this in parts, these definitions. Salutoconscientiology is the specialty of conscientiology dedicated to the study of health of the whole consciousness according to the consciential paradigm. This is applied to the integral, harmonic, idiotocenic, homeostatic, and homeodynamic manifestation of consciousness in all multidimensional environments that impacts. That means that we are studying this in a very comprehensive approach. And it considers the evolutionary level, the holotocenic systemic approach, the holosomatic, holobiographical, holokarmic, cosmoethical, and parallel aspects of health. There is a lot of nuances here that is related with this systemic approach of health, and encompassing both intraphysical consciousness, conscience, and extraphysical consciousness, conscience, whether individually or collectively. So this concept is what we are proposing as a new specialty to study all things that is related with this transformation that we are facing. And I will begin now to finish my presentation with some examples of how we can promote this Salutoconscientiology in our lives.
First of all, I'd like you to explain to the viewers a little more about this holosomatic, holobiographical, holokarmic, because we have people that are just arriving and they are not very well versed with the concepts of conscientiology. So if you could clarify them, please.
Yes, this is a technical definition. And as you mentioned, there is some words that is not so familiar. For example, here, idiotocenic approach or manifestation is the hygienic, how can I say, hygiene, thought, sentiment, and energy. Yeah, there is a word that is the tocene, that is the thought, sentiment, and energy. The combination of this is called tocene, and idiotocene is relate with the hygiene and the
Healthy tocene that
yes,
is like a clear, that is
clear, yeah,
linear.
linear. And other word here that is not from the is holotocenic systemic, is the holo is the all thought, sentiment, and energy create a holotocene. And this, as we mentioned before, is related with our systems. For example, if you have a holotocene in one school with some rules, with some behaviors, with some teachers, students, they create in that school a holotocene that is sustain the human behavior, the human lifestyle inside of that with that school, for example. And this is happening everywhere according to our level of thinking and emotions and behaviors. We are creating this everywhere, and we have some holotocene that are healthy and others that are unhealthy. And this is what is explained this holotocenic systemic approach. Holosomatic is the combination of soma, psychosoma, energosoma, psychosoma, and mental soma, the four bodies of our manifestation. Holobiographical means all our biographies. According to conscientiology, we live more than one life. In each life, we have a biography, the description of the study of our life. And we have other lives. We have this idea that we have a holobiographical record of this. And this is inside of us as memory, as knowledge, as how can I say, as our influence. Yeah, our paragenetics. What is the heritage of our past lives, past experiences? And holokarmic, as mentioned, I think is holo all karmic aspects that we have in here in conscientiology is ego karma is related to what I do for myself. If I don't do exercise, I am sedentary, have sedentarism, I'm doing bad things for myself in terms of movement, is a ego karmic behavior, negative ego karmic. And there is group karmality, that is the karma that is related when I do something to other people. Good things and bad things create good karma and bad karma. And polykarma is when I do things to help humanity, is more sophisticated approach to karma. And cosmoethical, I think, is a word very important in terms of health that is related with the idea I will mention later, that our choices, our behavior is the universal and multidimensional ethics. I thank you for this explanation. So this is a technical, I just put here because it's necessary to have this perspective, but I will move to this idea that Salutoconscientiology is related with this process that we, how can, here in this image, I can understand that when I create parapathogenesis or parapathologies in my holosoma, in mental soma, psychosoma, energosoma, I need therapy. I need therapeutics. I need the consciential therapeutic approach. But what I'm talking with you is that when I'm promoting health, I'm creating holosomatic health. I am in the other movement that is complementary. This is important for people in the audience, that they understand, what is the difference between Salutoconscientiology and consciential therapy? Well, this is the idea. We are complementary to each other, okay? And now I will talk about the health of intermissivist. Who is the intermissivist? Is the people that is arriving in this planet, reborn here, and between the last life and this life has an intermissive course where learns how to how is the process of evolution, and now there is some kind of existential program, a proexis, that is a program in this context. The health of this intermissivist is very important because we have to be the balance between all the consciousness that are being reurbanized, these people that are this astrophysical consciousness that are being born here with a lot of problems, and they are contributing to these planetary problems that I mentioned before. And we need to have people here to help, to assist, to how can I say, to yes, to create the assistance to this process. And because of this is that we are creating more polycarmality when we have this process of liberation or self-liberation. And according to the group karmic course, we have evolved in these stages from interprison, when we are creating problems and we are not aware of evolution. There is a lot of wars and problems that is related with the interprison between consciousness. Self-victimization is when people start lose confidence in this process of interprison and the power and the wars and the egoistic approach of life. And the recomposition is when the person, the consciousness, start to help the previous victims. And liberation is a very important moment that is related with this health that is Salutoconscientiology, is because when we have more freedom to choose, to promote better assistance, to clarification, to do clarification tasks, to engage in this process that we are talking about, the transformation of this planet, that will impact not only the personal life, but the life of other people, other consciousness, maybe thousands, millions of consciousness. This is a new stage that we are facing, and this is where we need to focus. And then I will talk about the process. The Salutoconscientiology occurs inside of ourselves. And there is two kinds of resinology or resin, intraconsciential recycling. One of them is the smallest, that is a kind of corrective to treat anti-cosmoethical disorder or pathologies. Is a way to regain well-being. When we have created problems in our lives, in our bodies, we have some relationship with ethics or cosmoethics. And when we do this to correct, is called a kind of interconsciential recycling. And with Salutoconscientiology, we are talking about the largest or the evolutionary, where we conquering new levels of cosmoethics, balance, and homeostasis. This increase our capacity to feel well, to live well, to produce more health for us and for the environment and for the planet. This is a challenge. This is a change in this perspective. I hope this is clear for you. I can explain more, but this is the process, the main process. And I put these arrows from past to the present and from the future to the present, because this largest resin is related with the future. What is the future need to our present moment to do? What we need to do now, because the future is necessary to happen in a certain way. and the future needs us to do something now. And of course, our past is demanding too that we change something from the past to this moment. But what I'm presenting you is this relationship between the future and the present. According to the Equilibriology, only cosmoethics can maintain consciential well-being. This is very important from a book of Valdo Vieira. And I finish, I have just a couple of slides, and I will talk about the importance of self-organization, even in our individual self-organization, like healthy habits, useful routines. This creates self-priority in our evolution. Consciential health has to do with this capacity to create more self-organization. And our evolutionary intelligence is related with our capacity to be more cosmoethic, do more interassistance, and promote more self-organization. And one word about the wisdom in the 700 experiment is wisdom is organizing one consciousness in an evolutionary way. And this brings us the reflection about the role of conscientiological campuses. Here in Foz do Iguaçu, we have Cognópolis, the CIEC, the Center of Higher Studies Center of Consciousness, and where we have an evolutionary laboratory to promote self-research, interassistance, and collective consciential health. This is very important because one time I heard Valdo Vieira say that we need to have more intraphysical spaces like this Cognópolis and this campus of conscientiological campus to promote these activities in all the planet. Well, and to finish, the main task, the mega clarity task of conscientiology is to promote the idea that we are consciousness in multidimensional, multi-existential evolution. And if we have more intraphysical consciousness thinking that we are consciousness in evolution, this will help the health of individual consciousness and the health of this planet. I think I finished my slides and I open to some more questions. I think that is just a...
Yes, we have a few more questions. Actually, Kim from Australia asked what would be parallel aspects of health?
Very good question. I was talking with Christina about this because when we are creating our behavior, individual behavior, to promote our health, this is in the field of cosmoethics, and I think when we are we can create well-being and health with our holosoma, paying attention to the cosmoetic. But when we are relating with others and we are people with different level of cosmoethics, there is a new approach that is the parallel. And this is not so easy to handle, and we need to study more the parallel elements, ingredients, to understand how this impacted the health. Because in some consciousness, they need the environment to become more healthy, the influence of the good environment to support or to create better conditions in their holosoma. As the consciousness evolve, the environment is not so important because the consciousness have more capacities to be well independently of the environment. So if we need to create a good environment to create health and other good things, this involves parallel. I think is an explanation, and maybe I don't know if Kim is satisfied with this answer.
Yeah, in fact, what we have in terms of para-law is how we behave in the extra-physical life. And obviously, it has a lot to do with our personal code of cosmoethics. And that is going to influence how we are going to have our holosomatic health, right?
Yes, but the interaction, I think that the main point of para-law is the interaction between consciousness with different level of cosmoethics and how create better outcomes from these interactions.
Because everything is integrated. That's
Yeah,
very right. Mm-hmm.
we cannot be isolated from the problems of the planet or the other consciousness. We need to interact in some way in how we interact. And there is the para-law is very important to these interactions.
Very well said. And Leona from Lebanon, she asks, how can we raise awareness about the holistic approach to well-being when the healthcare system is controlled by profit-making drug companies?
Well, very, very good this point. Because the health system is one of the system that is not good, is broken, and this biomedical health model it is dominated by the industry that they have profit with the disease. When we have more people sick, more diseases, we have more needs to the medicines, to these drugs, and they sell drugs. And there is a how can I say, there is a very interesting aspect is the incentive is a perverse incentive.
Yes.
Because with more people sick, more diseases, we have more sell
A
of
morbid
drugs.
model. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there is no a good incentive to have health and people with more health. Then what are the questions? How can we raise awareness? Well, there is this movement. I'm taking part of this movement of lifestyle medicine and planetary health, where we are talking about that we need more than just drugs and therapy in this conventional way. We need to transformation of behavior, and this is the way. I think is this way we raise awareness about. And here in conscientiology, we need to talk more about, and this is why I'm talking about Salutoconscientiology, because I see our fellows, our colleagues, that they are not so aware about this approach of health. This they don't.
Yes, and the model is just to treat whoever is sick. It's not to prevent. That's something that really impacted me here in the US. Is I thought it was the medicine here would be a lot more modern and focus on real health, and it's not. Unfortunately, it's driven by the big labs, the big pharma, and I think we need to do our part. I mean, individually, we can be an example of prevention, and we can help people around us. And this is going to create a halo effect in the way that we do something to help this situation. I think we all are part of this this process.
Yeah. And these big pharma, big industries, the food is always in this process. The food that is presented, this industrialized food is terrible for the health.
Oh yeah,
what they have more, the ultra processed food is terrible. It's cheap, it's convenient, and it's bad for our health. And the industry behind is making profits of this, creating problems. So because of this, I'm saying that we need to transform our human systems. What is sick is the human systems that need to be changed. All systems.
Yeah, and we should start with ourselves. It's like eating real food and avoid anything that comes in a package, because if it's industrialized, it has a bunch of substances that are not good. I tell my husband all the time, like if we look at what Europe is eating and what we are eating here in America, it's very poor. Yeah. What we have here. It might look good, but it has so many additives, so many chemicals, and we have to do what we can to change this situation.
Yes.
Okay, so
questions? No?
Yes, no more questions. We thank you a lot for being here with us, and you can come back anytime. We are also thank you for sharing these ideas and knowledge. And it's Eliane says that it's a synchronicity because she's been reading a lot about this new health approach, and that's something that should be included in our studies, right? Yes. So if you guys enjoyed these conversations, we can bring Roberto here again to talk more about it, talk more in deep about it. And so give us a like and also subscribe to our channel. Thank you for joining us today. In the next live, we are going to have instructor Anna Lage from Australia. She's going to be talking about grief and loss. So keep here, get informed, and thank you for today.
Thank you. Thank you very much.